House of Glory fans, I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. The Darkest Hour was one awesome show and a great way for me to return to House of Glory. It was my first HOG event since High Intensity back in August. Now, before I even jump into the matches here, I gotta say, I can't believe we now have ventilating fans in the building. Where were those last summer? We were sweating our balls off. Might talk more about that, more of the stuff like that later, but let me tell you, this was one pumped up crowd, and to those who actually wound up going to see SmackDown in the Barclays Center, and I feel sorry for you. You missed out on a huge event. The show, begins with, the show started out with a six-way matchup where the winner would become #1 contender to the Cruiserweight Championship. As we saw Jody Aura, that's Jody spelled with an I at the end, Raheem Royal, Jay Armani, Sweet Cheeks, Joey Silver, Blackman, and making his House of Glory debut, Gringo Loco. Well, good six-way match these guys had, and as I remember saying to the wonderful Ariana, I said, you know, way to squeeze people on the show with a match like this. At one point during the matchup, I forgot, was it Gringo, was it Loco, or somebody else made light of Jay Armani's, like, pants or tights were falling down, and that prompted a pull your pants up chant from the crowd. Oh my God. Eventually, I forgot the blonde-haired gentleman with a bow tie. I think he's been a commentator, now he's managing someone, and his guy came to the ring and he attacked someone, and they went to the back eventually. The end for this match, six-way matchup, came when Gringo Loco hit Raheem Royal with a Spanish fly from the top rope. Then he hits a, I guess, pop-up or a backdrop, picks up for a back body drop, but he caught him over his shoulder and gave him like an over-the-shoulder driver, enabling Gringo Loco to defeat Raheem Royal, Jody Aura, Sweet Cheeks Joey Silver, Jay Armani, and Blackman to become the #1 contender to the Cruiserweight Championship. This match went 13 minutes, 27 seconds. Gringo Loco was very impressive in the ring, and that Jay Armani, my God. Fans ate him alive without his gear. Yeah, I can still hear the crowd chanting, pull your pants up at him. Well, good thing he had something on underneath. Alrighty. Okay, up next was, we saw Kevin Blackwood challenge the Ghetto Samurai Nolo Katana with his Anunnakis for the Cruiserweight Championship. And I guess the crowd kind of died down during this matchup after that awesome six-way had opened up. At one point, they were, I don't know, it was both of them. Katana was hitting a lot of strikes, and people were saying that was weak. And then I was basically saying things along the lines of, that was the weakest chop, that was the weakest kick, that was the weakest forearm. And, you know, I just didn't put on my Ann Robinson voice. For those who don't know, Ann Robinson hosted the game show, The Weakest Link. I missed that show. One of the Anunnakis grabbed Blackwood on the apron. Katana tried to spit mist at him, but the mist ended up landing in the Anunnaki's face. And I think the referee was distracted by him and the other Anunnaki. Nolo spit more mist in Blackwood's face, and then he hits, Katana hits that, like I said, I don't know what he calls that finishing move, but it's very, very good, very effective. It's like a double underhook, like like he's going for a pedigree, but it's like I said, I think Triple H's pedigree meets MVP's playmaker, or as Elix Skipper, I think, called the play of the day. Impressive move. Nolo Catalano defeats Kevin Blackwood to retain the Cruiserweight title at 12 minutes 4 seconds. And good thing at that point I chose to go use the bathroom after that match, because I don't want to wait for everybody to go use it at intermission time. Next up was a battle of former tag team partners, as Encore did battle with the Cash Flow, Ken Broadway. Encore attacked him on the apron before the bell rang. Eventually, the referee, I think it was Giuseppe, Broadway tried to use a chair, and Giuseppe grabbed it. Encore takes Broadway down with a small package, and as Giuseppe's distracted with the chair, a masked man comes to the ring, changes the small package where Broadway's on top of Encore, and the referee, Giuseppe, turns around and pins him. Encore was ballistic. He attacks Broadway, he attacks the masked man, but eventually Broadway and the masked man got their way, and the masked man unmasked, and it was Jay Bougie, of all people. So I don't know if this means Broadway and Jay Bougie are a team now, or they'll do a tag match against Encore and someone else. And this match went 14 minutes, 17 seconds. Next up, we were scheduled to see Kiki Van Gogh challenge Ultraviolet for the Women's Championship. Ultraviolet's in the ring, and Kiki's music was playing, and for some reason, I guess Kiki didn't make the show because ring announcer David Adams said that if Kiki Van Gogh has until the count of 10 to come in the ring, or she will be counted out. So the bell rings, the referee makes the 10 count, and at 26 seconds, Ultraviolet is victorious by countout, but it's really like a forfeit win. But then out comes Kamara Couture, and she ended up challenging Ultraviolet for the women's title right then and there. I forgot how, but the referee got bumped to the floor. Couture hit a very good dragon suplex, which woke up the crowd, aside from the ref bump. Out comes a female referee, and I thought that was Sonya Strong at first, but she was going to get it down and count with Couture on top of Ultra, but before she does, she ends up giving Couture a sight for the Birdwatchers, and I forget how, but Ultraviolet defeated Kamara Couture to retain the Women's Championship, and apparently has herself a new ally in this female referee. But I'm wondering, is this thing with the Bookers done, since Brian XL and Amazing Red haven't wrestled since losing the Tag Team Championship back at High Intensity back in August? I don't know if I mentioned, but the women's title match went 9 minutes 39 seconds. Up next was a match which saw La Sombra Carlos Ramirez challenge the Root of All Evil Charles Mason for the Crown Jewel Championship. Eventually, they were like, such brutality was in this match all the way, and it got to a point where Ramirez suplexed Mason off the apron to the floor, sick bump. But the referee counted both men out, but out comes Commissioner Jason Solomon, and he restarts the match with no disqualification and every false count anywhere. Eventually, the Mason and Ramirez brawl in the crowd. They go by the meet and greet area that was taking place before the show. A ladder came into play. They both climbed the ladder, and they're like going at it above the meet and greet area. Carlos got thrown off. I don't know if he crashed to a table or not. Eventually, they come back to the ring. Blood was shed by both men. Charles brought in a long chain into play. At one point, Charles was like licking or trying to rub blood on his face, which prompted the crowd to chant, "You sick fuck," at him. At one point, Charles tried to suffocate Carlos with a plastic bag. Carlos brought thumbtacks into play, but he got like chokeslammed off the rope on them, and Charles kicking out so much in this matchup. At one point, Charles took another plastic bag, put some thumbtacks in it. He was going to put it on Carlos's head, but Carlos put it over Charles's head, And whew, Charles, I said Charles, right? Not Charles Wright, the Godfather, no. Yeah, he eventually, Carlos hits this pump handle, like, powerbomb move and pins Mason to become ending Mason's year-plus reign. I think he held it for a year and a half to become the new Crown Jewel champion, ending Charles Mason's 500-some-odd day reign. And as the crowd celebrated at one point, I actually gave Ariana a surprise hug. And the match, altogether, the match was 33 minutes, 27 seconds, but I know the match was stopped with a... Yeah, the match was stopped with like around the 12-minute range when they both initially got counted out. Okay, they went to, and thankfully at that point in time they did go to intermission, and boy, everybody needed a damn break after that matchup. Let's see, and then during intermission, they show up on the screen another announcement, and it's announced that the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, two-time former Impact Wrestling World Champion, will be appearing at House of Glory's event Brace for Impact, which is taking place on Saturday. Yes, folks, Saturday, January 6th. More on that later on, folks. By the way, I know the kudos again to the DJ. Each time on there, they're always playing a lot of great songs before the show, during intermission. I don't know if they play any music after the show is over. I mean, was getting flashbacks of doing my on my karaoke page. I normally after SmackDown would go off on Friday nights, I'd do karaoke live on my karaoke Facebook page. All right. Okay, next up was one of the big matches of the night as Speedball Mike Bailey took on Swerve Strickland, accompanied the ring by Prince Nana. Great match these guys had. I mean, this just on paper alone, nobody could expect this one to fail. And boy, did these two men deliver. Swerve Strickland defeats Speedball Mike Bailey with a stomp from the top rope at 18 minutes, 31 seconds. Up next, after all this, we finally have former NXT wrestlers. I don't know if they were ever NXT tag teams. The Grizzled Young Veterans, GYV, as they challenge Ringmaster Midas Black and Jay Lyon, main event for the House of Glory Tag Team Championship. Good match these guys had, both teams. What a rush. Which saw... eventually main event defeat Grizzled Young Veterans when Lyon pinned one of them with a sunset flip at 15 minutes, 2 seconds. After the match, they got the microphone and they talked about being House of Glory champion, but they want to be best in the world. So they issued a challenge to the current Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions, ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, to face them January 6th at Brace for Impact. From there was main event time as the indie god Matt Cardona, without Steph DeLander, surprisingly. He defended the heavyweight title against Mike Santana, who had like a musical performance before he came out to the ring. What a rush. I can't remember everything from this matchup, but what I do know is at one point Cardona brought in a bag and had action figures in them. And I believe there were multiple ref bumps in this match. Cardona accidentally hit, I think it was Giuseppe with the championship belt. When the referee with the glasses on came out and Santana kicked out of a pin attempt, Cardona attacked that referee. And then eventually Santana gives Cardona a torture rack. Oh, what a rush. Into a power bomb. Eventually, ref Stephen Dumaine comes in. He makes the 3 count. And Mike Santana defeats indie god Matt Cardona to become the new House of Glory World Champion, ending quite a show. Santana did a promo after the match was over, and I forgot what he said. But that was something. What a show, man. I'm so glad I made this. One thing I want to say right now before I get into the personal notes is this very show ended after midnight. You know, I don't know. These matches did go pretty long for the evening, but I don't know what the heck happened, or if these matches went longer than they were supposed to or stuff. Because I know usually there are time restraints put on matches, and there are usually, I don't know everything about what goes on behind the scenes in wrestling, but I do know that they always say that, like, do the match a certain amount of X amount of minutes before going to the end. But I gotta say, House of Glory, that's not gonna be acceptable for everybody. You know, running a show that ends, runs past midnight. All right, the personal notes time. As I came into, it was great seeing so many people I saw at this one. As I was coming through the door, Stella noticed me behind her. Her husband Lorenzo, her daughter Novi. She introduced her son. I forgot his name, but I said, "Nice to meet you, young man." Jennifer without Omar. Charmaine, couldn't believe she showed up. And of course, to my delight, I got to sit with Ariana, Chrissy, and Francisco. I actually think I got to the show before Ariana did. Great seeing Jason Bob 87, Brian XL caught me before the show, Jay Santiago, Eric Alford, Cheyenne Ortiz. Funny thing is, when I went to go use the bathroom after the second matchup, I'm heading back to my seat, and I noticed Dirk Moore of NYWC, and he was wearing that "I'm a Robert Lottie guy" T-shirt, and also saw Norman Alvarado there. I mean, this is like, I wouldn't say like a big coming out party, but yeah, this was something, and the crowd was very pumped for this show before it got started, and I think I made Ariana laugh when I put on my Jesse the Body, mentioned Jesse the Body Ventura. When I said, "That's Jesse the Body Ventura," you said, "I'm pumped up for this one already." Duh. We also got myself, Ariana, Chrissy, and Francisco had a picture together. Well, I think that's... Oh, that Macho Man Randy Savage impersonator was there. I hope to get a photo of that dude someday. And while I'm at it, to that Randy Savage impersonator, I know you're friends with that one guy who dresses up as the late American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. I wonder if he'd ever come up for a House of Glory event someday. I know he actually lives somewhere in New Jersey. But, oh, man. All right, House of Glory kicks off 2024 as they present Brace for Impact Saturday. Again, Saturday, January 6th, from the NYC Arena in Queens, New York. As already mentioned, the walking weapon Josh Alexander is appearing. The challenge has been put out by Main Event to face ABC. I would like to see at the next event, January 6th, Gringo Loco challenge Nolo Kitano for the Cruiserweight title. I'd like to see Ken Cashflow Ken Broadway and Jay Bougie gets Encore and a partner. Since it didn't happen at this show, can we get Ultraviolet versus Kiki Van Gogh January 6th? Be interesting to see where both Carlos Ramirez and Charles Mason go from here. Now, with Mike Santana as the new champion, I don't know if this means Matt Cardona will no longer be seen in House of Glory. Because when Cardona dethroned Jacob Fatu earlier this year, Jacob Fatu has not been on a House of Glory show ever since. Oh, another, like I said, as I said, not everybody's going to accept the fact these shows were going to run past midnight, because by the time I reached the train station, the J train, which is right up the street from my house, it shut down at 11:45 p.m. And again, the show ended past midnight, so I had to take the E train to Van Wyck Expressway and get one of those shuttle buses that only stop by all the J train stations in Queens. That's another reason this, and I was home like after 1 a.m., I think. I know it's even late as I'm recording this. But, you know, hopefully that doesn't happen again. They run past midnight. Well, folks, this was an awesome event. House of Glory, the darkest hour. Well, it was the darkest hour for so many on the show, but like bright and shiny for others. HOG, 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 HOG.